So what I want to do in this, I want to do a growth rep practice session. I want to focus on sensory language. I want to focus on sights and sounds. So what I'm going to do is practice and demonstrate the practice that I'll be taking folks through in the 𝗍𝗿𝗄𝗏 growth rep lab experience. It's a mouthful. And it's going to start with 10 minutes of pre-writing, aka priming the mind. And I'm going to do a list of 20 statements that utilize the sense of sight and sound for the environment of the kitchen, or 10 minutes, whichever comes first. And I've done this once just in my journal, and getting to 20 statements feels doable. So I will hit 20, not really worried about the time limit, but ideally it's 10 minutes or less. So either you hit 10 minutes first or you hit 20 first. And then after the 20 statements, the pre-writing, I will write 4 bars using the senses of sight and sound to be the inspiration. The focus of the 4 bars will be just setting a scene. I'm not worried about, being clever, wordplay, pun, whatever naturally flows out is what I'm going to create in the 4 bars. And again, I'm going to limit myself to just 4 bars. But I would encourage anybody, if you're inspired to go beyond 4 bars, please do so. And the point of the 4 bars is not to write the greatest 4 bars ever. The point is to just engage in the practice, be in the moment, notice what you notice, practice with this intention of bringing more sensory language to your rap writing. And then at the end, I might do like an informal reflection on the process to really just notice any insights within my own process that I might want to remember going forward, because every time you do this, there's a little nuance that can assist with your continued transformation and enhancing your rap skills. So go ahead and dive into it. And forgive me as I do this. I'm just going to be in my zone, and for the sake of the video, I'll try to speak my thoughts as they're coming up. But forgive me if I just kind of dive in, kind of get lost in the process. Hopefully, by seeing what the writing is, you'll get an idea of what's going on, and again, an idea of how you can practice it yourself. So, sight and sound pre-write, I'm basing it on the environment of the kitchen. I'm going to use my actual kitchen, even though I'm not in it right now. You can also imagine the kitchen as well. And essentially, I'm just asking myself the question, what will I see in this space? What will I hear in this space? So what am I going to see in this kitchen? What am I going to hear in this kitchen? And I'm just going to make a list of statements, and I will number them as I go along. All right? And really just no judgment. Just really being in the moment, turning off that part of the brain to open the pathway for flow state to emerge. All right, let's get going. So one thing I'll see is I got some hanging in the stove. And sound wise will be like the clank of the magnet. So we have this kind of magnet band that holds the knives. Let's see. Got tiles in the walls. And like sunflowers. And suns. And like birds. Just a lot of kind of Spanish theme, indigenous theme imagery on the tiles. The hum of a dishwasher. Sometimes you can hear the water spraying. On dishes. Even more, say, cleats. And I'll say sporadic. Another thing. Did I spell sporadic correctly? I don't know. But because it's pre-writing, you get to misspell all kinds of words. As long as you know what you mean. So the ice machine every once in a while makes clanky noise. All right, let's see if that's the doom. All right, cool. We're at 7. We're going to get to 20. Let's see what else I see or hear in this kitchen. Hum of the fridge. Gamer playlist. On the Google speaker. I'll say stomping feet to the beat. This is what happens when my son does the dishes. Let's see, we have of stove. Butter. Kind of blue. Green flame. Little yellow in there too. Let's see. You got silver, metallic, pots and pans. Let's say kind of black and charred. Again, black and charred best high pans. And let's see. Fizz of the grease. Popcorn popping. Then we got the kettle water. Bowling bubbles. Let's see the can. Pox. The teas. And then I'll just say kind of this long, I don't know if it's called a throw rug. That's what I'm going to call it. Hug. I'll say down. Galley. Something like that. All right, so I got my 20 statements. I'll zoom out just for to kind of get them all on there. So now I'm going to work on my 4 bars. And let me to the screen real quick. Okay. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go through the list and I'm going to star things that spark my attention. And it's just anything that, like, as I go through it, I mean, you might have heard me like laugh at certain things. So I'm going to go and kind of find those moments. And then from there, I'll start playing around to write these 4 bars. So when I go to write 4 bars too, in this particular case, I'm going to make it fairly messy to kind of show you more of my thinking process behind it. When you go to write your 4 bars, it does not need to be this messy. You don't need to put it out all on the page. I recommend it because the more you capture ideas on the page, that frees your brain to have more versus trying to figure it all out in your head. Because being honest, after doing that for 20 statements, I was not thinking in my head like, oh, I can make this into a bar. I was just literally activating my visual sense and my sonic sense. All right, so thinking about the 4 bars, because I'm kind of got lost. So for me to write these 4 bars now, when I went through the list of 20 sights and sound statements, I'm just being in the present moment with my sense of sight of my kitchen and my sense of sound of what could be and has happened in my kitchen. I'm not thinking about a narrative. I'm not trying to create a story. I'm just literally using my imagination to make observations of the kitchen space. There were moments where, as I was making these observations, I felt a reaction, some laughter, a fond memory, if you will. And these are the statements that'll start, meaning that there's like a spark of like something there that I could use for my 4 bars, right? So this is what I recommend for you to do as well. Like anything that just caught your attention while you were just working on making this list. So let's off the jump, like stomping feet to the beat, gamer playlist through the speakers, sporadic, just because I actually like that word sporadic. Let me see. I like the water spraying the dish and the plates. That just feels like a very, like as I even say it, I feel like I'm inside the dishwasher, kind of seeing the water hit the plates. And I like the description of the black and charred. I liked kettle water boiling bubbles, really just because of boiling bubbles. All right, so I have a place to start. Doesn't mean, will I use all this stuff? No, there's no demand to use all these things, but these are good places to start. So because I like the word sporadic, I'm thinking of a line right now, which is basically just rearranging this sentence so I can end with sporadic. And then I'm going to read it here. So it'll be ice dropping from machine sporadic. I'm going to count the syllables just to see if it fits kind of the structure I like to use, somewhere between 8 and 10. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. All right. So that works. Ice dropping from the machine sporadic. So the challenge right now, of course, is to say something visual that rhymes with sporadic, or I could do a basic rhyme scheme where it's like, instead of it AA, it could be ABAB. So I can do something like this, or I can do something like this, or something like this. And there's really a whole lot of other combinations too, but this is all just with the idea rhyming on the 4th beat of the bar. So right now I'm got ice dropping from the machine sporadic. And all I want to do in these 4 bars is just kind of paint a picture, create a scene. And now what I'm going to do is I want the challenge of rhyming with sporadic. So I'm going to kind of do some word webbing here. I'm really just thinking of words that can rhyme with sporadic. And then I'm just going to break the syllables apart. So like spore, you can get into like sport. Let's see. Sporadic. So we can get like, that could be tragic. That could be magic. Magic. Spastic. Let me do some slants for that. So now we can get dish. And that, now we actually have some, we have a possibility with this word because it connects to kitchen. And then let me see, with fish. And all right, spur. And so if I really was like determined to like rhyme all 3 syllables on sporadic, I would keep going to try to find a pairing that fits all 3. I think I'm gonna use dish just to paint the scene because I already have this statement here, water spraying on the dish. And so I can probably combine some things. Ice dropping from the machine sporadic. Let's see. And something like, right, I'm going to erase dish because I don't want to, I was going to say like dishwasher hum, then in with dish. For my taste, it's too repetitive. So I'm going to say, essentially like, even in with fridge if I wanted to. So fridge, humming, water spraying the dish. Okay, let me see if I can move this out the way a little bit. Can I just slide you over? Kinda. Cool. It's good enough. All right. So, ice dropping from the machine, sporadic, fridge humming, water spraying the dish. Let me see what I got here. I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So that's why this one sounds a little off, but I'll fix it later. It's still between 8 and 12. And so it still works. So ice dropping from the machine, sporadic, fridge humming, water spraying the dish. And now this just popped in my head because I guess I'm going to do this A-B rhymes game. I'm thinking about my son doing dishes. Son wishing dishes done with magic. He hates doing the dishes. Let me see what I got here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Son wishing dishes get done with magic. And then now I'm thinking something about stomping the feet. Son wishing dishes get done with magic. And then something about stomping the feet. I want to rhyme with dish, most likely. And I can rhyme with dish. I can rhyme with kind of sporadic. DIC on that. There's a lot of different things I can do. I'm trying to stay in like painting this scene. Something like dancing off fits. Let's see, dancing off fits. So what I'm trying to get to here is like, he's using, because he doesn't want to do the dishes, he uses music as a way to like kind of distract from the chore of it, right? And so like sometimes it fits frustration, right? So I might say something simple like dancing off fits as he struggles through it. Okay. So that's what I got for my 4 bars. Let me see this last line real quick. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So we only got one that's like a 9, and I could make that work, but ice dropping from the machine sporadic, fridge humming, water spraying the dish, sun wishing dishes get done with magic, dancing off fits as he struggles through it. So yeah, I think that would be the 4 bars. Sounds good to me. It's done. There's an image in my head as I read this, as I say it. Ideally, as a listener, you would be able to be generating an image with this as well. But more importantly, I think some of the insights I can kind of take away from this is like, there is essentially just kind of like paying attention to the scene in my mind to be able to pull the sight and sound details. Because even as I start kind of focusing on the rhyme, sometimes it's like, okay, the rhyme will, as an example, like as I was looking at sporadic, tragic, magic, spastic, like these words don't necessarily connect to the context of the kitchen by itself. And so it just takes some time to kind of like find those connections, but also to hold the scene in your head, versus when maybe you're freestyle writing, where like something like tragic starts to create its own context. So it starts in the kitchen, and then, you'll mention something that makes tragic make sense, but it doesn't connect to the scene anymore. And it's not necessarily wrong. It's all about just whatever your attention is. And so since the intention of this is to be connected to the sense of sight and sound, it's like, how do you hold that attention, your mind's eye, on the scene that you're painting, and then using that as the canvas from which you like pull your rhymes together. So, all right. So hopefully this is helpful. I'm gonna have some crazy editing I need to do to get this to work, but we'll make it work. But yeah, I'm excited for it. I'm excited for you. I'm excited for the experience. I'm excited to truly just explore and discover what we develop in this experience together. So anyway, as always, Genius for Doubt. Catch you in the next one. Deuces, y'all.